Well, it's really nice to finally hear from you. I know this is a stupid question and you've probably gotten it a million times, but how are you doing?
I mean, I've definitely had better days. I'm not doing great, but I could probably be worse, and I'm not. So, hopefully, maybe the worst days are behind me, but I don't know. Grief comes in waves.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could help in some way, but obviously things like this, no one can help. Um, I'm assuming you're having a hard time wrapping your head around potentially taking care of Charlotte right now, which is why she's still with me, right?
That's actually why I'm calling you today for the first time.
What? You're calling about letting her stay with me, or are you calling to finally come get her? I feel so terrible just asking you any questions at this time.
I'm calling about. I think I'm ready to come get her and start watching her again and trying to be a mom again. Um, I mean, I'm not 100% certain, but I feel like that's the direction that I need to start getting ready for.
Oh. Well, I knew this day was coming eventually. When or what day are you going to be taking Charlotte from me?
That's the thing. I can't really give you a time frame because there are moments where I feel like I can give Charlotte a bath and feed her and change her diapers and take care of her. Like, I feel confident sometimes. But then I'm still at the stage where, like, 75% out of the day, I don't feel like I can do it. Just mentally, just knowing she'll be here without her brother. I don't know.
All right, yeah. I'll just mentally prepare myself for that. Also, given the changes in life recently, am I still getting her the same amount of days, or are you reducing them back to one? I remember we agreed on two, right, or three. I can't even remember.
I can't confirm nor deny that right now. It's not something I'm thinking about right now. I'm sorry, Brian.
Okay. You know, I have no problem keeping her here with me for longer if you need the space or you don't feel comfortable watching her at this time. I can't imagine what it's like being in that house.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that you are willing to step up right now.
Do you feel like you can actually take care of her, like mentally?
I guess we'll find out, won't we? When I have her before me and I'm alone in this house, and we'll find out.
Well, we'll find out. It's not really a great. I'm just worried about Charlotte and your ability to take care of her, and I'm not trying to start problems or anything. I just want to make sure that you're taking time to take care of yourself.
I don't mean to concern you. I mean it as if I take her and suddenly I can't do it, I will call you. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. I'm not great, but I'm not like losing my mind or anything like that, which I should be, but
All right, I got it. So you let me know when you're gonna be picking her up to take her, and again, I will be here all the time when I'm not working, and I will drop work to take her if you need me to after this all, you know?
yeah, of course. Yeah, we will hash everything out when the time comes and stuff. I will let you know when I'm ready. As of today, I'm not ready, but I'm getting there, and I'm bracing for a home with her here, and not Junior, and see what life looks like, like that.
This time with her and being a full-time dad with her while you have taken time for yourself, it's been great, and I enjoy it a lot, so you don't have to worry about her safety or anything like that when she's with me.
I'm really glad to hear that, Brian. I have to go now though, so I was thinking, since your mindset has changed about having children and the uncertainty around it, I was thinking that maybe I could get over my fear of being pregnant and what could happen to my body and stuff, and maybe I could be the one to carry the baby. Well, I actually never considered that, but it's not so much who carries the baby rather than, after what happened to my nephew, I just don't know how I can raise a child and see a little smile. I don't know. I was also thinking, to alleviate your stress and not feel like such a responsibility, if I'm the one carrying the baby and we use a donor, you won't actually be the parent. So hypothetically, we have a child and you can't do it anymore. It's not as though that child is blood to you. Do you know what I mean? That's a really, horrible thing to say. How is that a horrible thing to say? Obviously, this is what we were going to do before, except you were going to carry the baby and I wouldn't have been the biological parent. But, if you're concerned about not being able to handle the mental aspects of being a parent after the loss of your nephew, then it only makes sense that you give yourself the out. Because when you say give yourself an out, this is real life. This isn't some baseball game that you and I are playing. When you say that, what happens to us? Hypothetically, I didn't want to be in the child's life anymore. Well, obviously, if you hit that point where you can't take care of our child and you're tapping out, essentially, I don't really see it as fitting that we stay together, because I married you so that we could do things together. I can't explain it. You say that so nonchalant and so cold, as if it's easy for us to just go our separate ways if I didn't want to parent our child. And I would never I wouldn't go through this process with you if I wasn't going to commit myself to a child. It's just the initial commitment. Look, I'm trying to find a workaround to being told a hard no to children. And I know that I was on the fence about it, and I still am on the fence about it. I just hate being in a relationship where there's a hard no on something, when the flag is planted saying, no, this is never happening. I'd like to keep my options open, so I'm just trying to find a workaround that, maybe if I carried the baby and took a load off of you, you wouldn't be so afraid to be a mom. I'm not afraid to be a mom. I just lost my nephew and don't want to think about raising a happy little child right now. I'm sorry. And for you to use hate and our relationship in the same sentence kind of stings. You know what I mean. It's just kind of not fair to me that because this happened to your nephew, our entire life has to change. Well, I'm sorry this happened. It's not easy on me. I just don't understand why you're so hung up on this right now, right this instant. Why do we have to talk? We just got married. You're just not getting it. You're not getting the difference between maybe one day, if we want kids, we'll have them, but we're unsure, versus no kids, never. I don't know how I'm going to feel a year from now. You get it? You know what I mean? And then a year from now, you're still a no. Why do that to ourselves? It's hard to give you a straight answer right now when I'm going through what I'm going through with someone that has mental health problems. Losing a nephew isn't the easiest thing where I can just sit down and talk about having kids right after it happened. I don't think it should be expected to do that. Do you think that it's wise for you to be the biological parent when you have such a mental health history? You are putting me down. I don't know how I'm not supposed to take that in an offensive manner. For real. I'm just trying to be realistic, Gabby. out of the two of us, you're the one with the big mental health problem. And even something happens to your nephew like this, your whole stance on having kids changed like that. Do I want to give my child those genes? And I'm not putting you down. I don't know where any of this is coming from. And the fact that you're harping on possibly having kids one day while I'm grieving my nephew is absolutely ridiculous. I just feel like the marriage, like, I don't know. I'm learning so much more about you. So what? Do you regret marrying me? Did we do this too soon? I don't mean it like that. I wanted to marry you. I just hate when things suddenly change because of things that are outside of our control. I'm hurt that you are crossing kids off. That's all, I guess. I can't follow you then. I don't know what you mean, what you're getting at. You're coming out of left field, talking about my mental health problems, and you're so upset about not having. I just don't know where any of it's coming from. Well, let me ask you. Do you want to pass down your mental health problems to your child? Do you want that family gene that you have to go to someone else? Or would you be okay with sharing a child with me, and my genes, and a donor? I'm not ashamed of what goes on in my head. I'm not afraid to pass it down to a child. I love myself, I'm sorry, even if I have flaws. We're not going to be able to talk about things like this, Gabby, if you're going to be sensitive.
This is the first time I've considered something like this, because I'm not that type of person. I'm really not. But I'm considering not giving Charlotte back to Miranda. Well, Brian, this may be the first time on my end too that I can't condone what you just said. I don't think that's a way to go about it, especially in this period where Miranda's grieving. It's not final. That's why I said I'm considering it. Because I know how bad something like this can go. And I don't want to ruin the little good that we have, even in this terrible time. But I don't think she's capable right now of watching Charlotte by herself in that house. And I don't know if you're the person to determine that. You know what I mean? Respectfully. And also, I think she's remedying taking care of Charlotte in her home by going to open houses. She's been going to open houses. I thought she was grieving. She is grieving. I think I might have gotten it wrong with the open house thing. And no. I think you just slipped up about something. Why would she be going to open houses, Victor? She gonna get a new house? Okay, yes. I do vaguely remember her saying that she doesn't want to live in that house. And I think that the route there would be to find somewhere else to live. And I don't think she's going to revert back to an apartment, so... Yeah, alright, that makes sense. I wouldn't want to live in that house. She's staying in Serafina Town, though, right? Because you know my fear about her moving Charlotte away. She's mentioned that before. And if anything was going to be a caveat to her doing that, I would think it would be this. I don't know. You have to imagine the second that I got to talk to Miranda, I wasn't going to spend time talking about open houses and things of that. I wanted to see how she was doing. You're not lying to me, right? Like, you're telling me the truth? Because you have to remember, this is my daughter. And this, even though it's been a terrible time for all of us, I have never bonded with her so much on my own. I love having her in my home. I love being a dad. I love making up for lost time. I don't want it ripped out from under me. I'm not lying to you, Brian. I have the best interest of Miranda at heart. I have the best interest of you at heart. And I also think that if she were to move, she would tell you. You both share a daughter, so... Do you really think that, though? Or would she just up and leave and not tell me? Because that's my worst fear. And the less she tells people, the less we'll know where she goes, and she'll be safer if she doesn't tell people. I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't think she thinks I'm entitled to my daughter. I think she looks at me like I'm Joey. Oh, Brian, if you were Joey, that would mean she'd be giving you a second chance at love. Sorry. I'm sorry, Brian. I spoke out of turn. They're obviously not together. I'm sorry. It's okay, you're right. She does have a soft spot for him, and I don't know, this whole conversation, maybe I'm not considering it anymore. Maybe I just don't give her back Charlotte until I know that I can have her as many days as I want, and until I know that Miranda's mentally capable to take care of a baby after losing her son. Because I don't think she is. Well, I know you've probably gotten a million offers to negotiate, and I know this is also something that fell into your lap. But I am more than grateful for sitting at this table with you and having us discuss what a takeover might look like for my family. Yes, it's a bittersweet day. Never expected to have to do this, as you know, this organization has been in my family for a very long time, so this is an unprecedented meeting. Yeah, 1902. It's incredible. But no family should have members forced into taking it over if you're not into running it. And I would say that this town definitely does need a medical overhaul. There are just so many outdated policies, so many laws that don't align with our church, and we are the premier church in town, you know. Well, sorry to hear you feel that way. My mother did the best she could in terms of running an entire town's medical industry and overseeing the crookedness that was here and there. And I don't know if you're aware, but the medical industry is a tough bunch of people to navigate. Where is your mother, by the way? Or is anyone looking into that? That she disappeared? It's I don't want to gain something in this organization when she could still possibly return. No. Well, right now there's a missing persons report out for her that I just filed, and in terms of power transition here, I am the one who has been granted ownership, pretty much, of this organization. So any transfer of power would be temporary if she were to return, and then we could possibly work out a date to where she doesn't return and it all becomes official. Okay, yes, I could see how that could work, and maybe we could set up a time frame if of course you want to allow me to run the organization. But yeah, we could probably set up a time frame where it's no longer temporary and I start running it officially. With all due respect to how your mother ran Stoom, I think that she wanted to stick to tradition and keep laws that have been around for a long time. And but now it's 2025. I think we can get back to basics. So let me ask you though, because this is somewhat of an interview, right? What is it that you look to do once you take over? Because you have to understand that switching families here, it's a big undertaking for me. It's a big deal. So I have to make sure the right people are in charge. Well, I do have a vision for this town. I do want to change things. I want to make the medical industry, clinics, OBGYNs, pharmaceuticals, I want everything to be streamlined and beneficial for the people and keep everything kind of under one umbrella, you know? Alright, we're gonna have to be a little bit more specific on what your goals are here, because handing over an entire organization that oversees hospitals and doctors and medication, I need to know what your plan is. Well, our church is a sanctuary. It's a place that people come to pray and
bring their problems and things of that. Sometimes these medical procedures and medicines make their problems a lot worse. So we want to cut certain things out and allow people to recognize that our church is the real hospital here.
It's bold. Do you have an example that you can give me so I can better understand what you're talking about?
Well, for example, anything that's not natural, anything that's kind of like man-made or a procedure that interferes with the natural flow of how things should be. For pacemakers, for example, I think we can find alternatives to those instead of putting a plastic device in someone's chest. I'm not supportive of IVF. I don't think that we should be doing that in this town. Not against it for the rest of the world. Let them travel to New York or something to get that done. But here, this is going to be a church town, a place where people turn to God more than they do some man in a white coat who's just prescribing you things so that you get sicker or have to pay for them.
You know, a word that stuck out to me right there was IVF. Hits home because I have a gay daughter who just got married, and if she ever wanted to have children, I don't think she would go the adoption route. So if you're looking to ban that, it might be problematic when I see from my perspective.
Well, if I were to run Stoom, she would have to travel out of town for that. Same thing with cerclages and C-sections and things. If you don't want to follow what we have set up here in our church for years, then you shouldn't live here. It's not that hard.
I see. Well, that makes things a lot easier for me. I think I've made my decision.
Okay, and what's your decision?
Well, as much as I butt heads with my mother, she did lead the medical industry in this town pretty well. Made a lot of money and did things that people liked. I don't know what people you're talking about who want to get rid of IVF or pacemakers. Seems more like a personal goal of yours to benefit your church. I guess you imagine people on their deathbed coming to the church and boosting your numbers, and you can create your own miracles and stuff, but I'm not really for that. So I'm right now going to take the reins at the organization myself, because now I see that she stayed in power because of people like you.
So you've wasted my time today. Did I say something wrong?
Not really. I think it was a benefit of my time seeing who runs this town's biggest church and the ideals and power-hungry motives that lie beneath whatever you want to call that shirt you're wearing.
Look, I tried to be nice. I have been waiting for your witch of a mother to be gone for a very long time, to be honest. In this town, she has ruled with an iron fist and a voice of cigarettes. I don't really think you want to upset my family. I think it'd just be easier for you and your family if you just let us take over.
She may have broken some kneecaps and gotten her hands dirty with the wrong people sometimes in order to keep the organization the way that it was and get things done, but no one ever had a problem of getting a pacemaker or their medication or some sort of pregnancy procedure like a C-section. Even I don't want to abolish those things.
You just don't get it. You don't share my vision. It's about bringing community back to this town. You don't bring communities together in a hospital. You do it in a church. Everyone's answer to everything is to go to the doctor. And it really messes up the natural flow of things when these doctors put in pacemakers and do C-sections. Don't interfere with nature. Do you understand? When it rains, we don't try to stop it.
No, I don't get it, and I don't think anyone outside of your church will get it either, but it's all irrelevant now because I
Like I said, I've made my decision. And I'm not afraid of any repercussions. My family's pretty powerful too.
Okay. I did warn you though.
No. I warned you. I just lost my grandson. If you think I'm in the mood to play, be bullied, it's the last thing you want.
So there's no way that any of you would have noticed this, but throughout that whole episode I had a stomach virus. It was one of those days where I woke up sick. Doesn't happen ever, but I woke up with nausea and haven't eaten anything except toast. I wasn't even gonna film that video, but then it's like let me see how far I can get. I was gonna film the other two for the rest of so we could have 3 videos today, but I'm not gonna push myself because my son just he put his head on his pillow just now, and he lifted his head back up and looked right in my eyes and threw up. So he has it too now. Where did we get this? Your guess is as good as mine. Saturday we went to a kids party, so it's now Tuesday night. Sunday we went to Perkins, to the restaurant if you're not aware, and yesterday we went grocery shopping, so take your pick. Yeah, so I'm going to take the rest of the night off. I honestly didn't think I'd get through that 20-minute video, but I'm proud of myself that I did. There won't be any other videos today, but I'll be back tomorrow, granted things aren't worse. And yeah, I feel like it was Perkins. I don't know.